Has a doctor ever refused to treat you? I was 19 when I broke my hand punching a wall after my girlfriend left me. Stupid, I know, but I was angry and young and didn't know how to deal with it. I drove myself to the emergency room at 2 a.m. My hand was swollen like a balloon. I could see the bone pushing against the skin in a way that made me want to throw up. The nurse at the front desk took one look at me and called for a doctor. This older guy came out, maybe 60, gray hair, tired eyes. He looked at my hand for about 5 seconds. Then he said, "No, I'm not treating you." I thought I heard him wrong. "What do you mean you're not treating me? My hand is broken." He crossed his arms. "I can see that, and I'm still not treating you." The nurse looked confused. So did I. I asked if it was because I didn't have insurance. I had insurance. My mom's plan. I was still covered. He shook his head. "It's not about insurance. I just don't want to treat you." I started getting angry again. That same feeling from earlier, like something hot was filling up my chest. "You can't do that. You're a doctor. You have to help me." He stared at me for a long time. Then he said something I'll never forget. "I know who you are. You're David's kid, and your hand will heal fine at a different hospital. There's one 15 minutes away. Go there." I felt my face get hot. "How do you know my dad?" He didn't answer, just turned around and walked back through the emergency room doors. The nurse looked embarrassed. She gave me the address of the other hospital and said she was sorry. I drove there with one hand, got treated. They put a cast on, gave me pain meds. Everyone was nice and normal, but I couldn't stop thinking about that first doctor. The way he said my dad's name, like it hurt him to say it. I didn't tell my parents what happened, just said I went to the closer hospital. Dad saw my cast and shook his head, called me an idiot for punching a wall. Mom cried and hugged me. Normal parent stuff. But 2 weeks later, I was going through old photos at my grandma's house, looking for pictures for a school project. I found one from 1985, my dad in his 20s, standing with his arm around some guy at a party, both of them smiling, young and stupid looking. I asked Grandma who the other guy was. "Oh, that's Brian." She said it so casual, like it was nothing. He and your father were best friends growing up. Inseparable, those two. I'd never heard that name before. What happened to him? Her face changed. She got quiet. "Your father never told you?" "Told me what?" She sat down, put her hands in her lap. "Brian got in a car accident when they were 23. Your father was driving. They'd both been drinking at some party. Your dad walked away with a few cuts. Brian was in the hospital for 3 months. I felt something cold move through my stomach. Is he okay now?" She shook her head. "He survived, but he's never been the same. Brain injury. Your father visited him every day in the hospital. Then one day, Brian's family told him to stop coming. Said seeing your dad made Brian upset, made him remember the accident." I stared at that photo. My dad looked so happy, so young. I never saw him smile like that. "Your father hasn't spoken to Brian since." Grandma's voice was soft. "He tried to help with medical bills. Brian's family refused. They blamed him. Still do." I went home that night and looked up Dr. Brian Patterson. Found him on the hospital website. Same gray hair, same tired eyes. But in his photo, he was smiling a little. Specialized in emergency medicine for 30 years. One of the best in the state. I realized he'd been working that night at 2 a.m., probably exhausted. Probably at the end of a 12-hour shift. And some kid came in with his hand broken from being stupid and angry. A kid who looked just like his old best friend. The friend who put him in the hospital. Who gave him the injury that probably ended a dozen dreams. Who never got to say sorry because the family wouldn't let him. I never told my dad I met Dr. Patterson. Never told him what happened at that hospital. But 3 months later, when my cast came off, I drove back to that first emergency room. I walked up to the front desk and asked if Dr. Patterson was working. He wasn't, but I left an envelope with the nurse. Inside was a letter. I didn't know what happened until recently. My dad never told me. I don't know if he's ashamed or if it just hurts too much to talk about. But I wanted you to know that he talks about his old best friend sometimes when he thinks no one is listening. Usually late at night when he can't sleep. My mom told me he still has nightmares about the accident, that he wakes up saying your name. I don't know if that matters to you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes it worse. But I thought you should know he never forgot you. And I'm sorry for what he did, even if he can't say it himself. 2 weeks later, my mom told me my dad got a letter in the mail. He read it in the garage and didn't come out for an hour. When he finally did, his eyes were red. He never told me what the letter said. But that Sunday, he drove somewhere alone and came back 4 hours later. At dinner that night, he seemed lighter somehow, like something heavy had finally been put down. Mom asked him where he'd been. He just smiled a little and said he had coffee with an old friend. That was 5 years ago. My dad still meets Dr. Patterson for coffee once a month. I've never asked about it. Some doors take 30 years to open, but when they finally do, the people on the other side are still waiting.